Imagine standing at your own wedding, waiting for your mom, who never shows up. Then 2 weeks later, she texts asking for money, for her mortgage. That's when everything exploded. The morning of my wedding, the sun was shining so bright it felt like a good sign. Birds were singing outside my window. My dress was hanging on the door, looking like something out of a fairy tale. I should have been the happiest woman in the world. But my stomach was in knots. Kept checking my phone, but there was nothing. "No, I'm on my way, sweetie." Text. "No, I'm so excited." Call. Just silence. My maid of honor, my best friend Lisa, kept telling me moms are always a little late. But I knew my mom. This wasn't just a little late. This was something else. My name is Sarah. I'm 27 years old, and I'm a nurse. My whole life I've been the good one, the responsible daughter. I'm the one who remembers birthdays, the one who calls just to check in, the one who always tried to keep the peace between my mom and dad, even after they split up. All I ever wanted was a quiet life. Happy family. A day where nothing went wrong. I was marrying Mark, the kindest man I had ever met. He was my rock. I thought this day, my wedding day, was the start of that new, peaceful life. I had no idea it was the beginning of a war. My whole life I just wanted to feel safe. I just wanted a family that wasn't always on the edge of some new drama. If you've ever felt like that, like you're the one always trying to hold everything together, maybe you'll understand my story. We share these stories here every week because no one should have to go through things like this feeling all alone. If that means something to you and you want to hear more stories from people who get it, please think about clicking that subscribe button. It truly helps more than you know, and it lets us know we're not just talking into the air. It's strange telling this to you now. I can almost feel the butterflies in my stomach all over again. I wonder where you are listening to this. Are you in your car stuck in traffic? Or at home, trying to relax after a long day? Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Feels like we're all sitting in one big room together, sharing our lives. It's a nice feeling. I truly hope that as you're listening, something wonderful and unexpected happens for you and your family this week. I hope you find a little bit of peace, just for connecting with us here. The music started. I could hear it through the thick wooden doors of the church. My dad stood next to me, looking so proud his eyes were watery. He squeezed my arm. "Ready, sweetheart," he whispered. I nodded, but my eyes weren't on the door. They were on the front row inside the church. I could see it through the crack. The seat next to my dad. The one with the white ribbon on it. The one for the mother of the bride. It was empty. My heart didn't just sink. It felt like it hit the floor and shattered. She wasn't just late. She wasn't coming. I have to check my phone," I whispered. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. "Sarah, honey, it's time," my dad said gently. "Mark is waiting." "I know," I said, my voice cracking. "Just 1 second." I fumbled with the little bag. Had to know. A call would have been better. A call would have meant she was trying. But there on the screen was a new text message. It was from her. Came in 3 minutes ago. My fingers trembled as I opened it. I held my breath, praying she was in a taxi, stuck in traffic, anything. The text message had only 9 words. "So sorry, honey. Woke up feeling awful. Can't make it. Love you." That was it. "No, I'm heartbroken. No, I'm trying to get there. Can't make it." Like she was canceling a coffee date. I felt all the blood drain from my face. It was a punch to the gut. I had spent a year planning this day. A year asking her about flowers and colors, and she was feeling awful? This was my wedding. I'd seen her go to work with the flu. This didn't feel right. Felt cold. Felt wrong. My dad saw my face change. He didn't even have to ask. He just put his arm around me. "She's not coming, is she?" I couldn't even speak. I just shook my head, the tears starting to blur my veil. The music got louder. The doors opened. "We have to go, Sarah," he said, his voice firm but kind. "This is your day. This is about you and Mark. Don't let her ruin this." Not this. He was right. So I took a deep breath, wiped my eyes, and I put one foot in front of the other. Walking down that aisle was the hardest thing I've ever done. Every single person was smiling at me, but all I could see was that empty chair. Felt like a giant black hole. I could feel people staring at it, then whispering to each other. I saw Mark waiting for me at the altar, his eyes shining. When he saw my tears, he smiled, thinking they were happy tears. I tried to smile back, but it felt like my face was made of stone. Felt numb. I was there, but I wasn't. I stood there, holding Mark's hands, listening to the pastor. But my mind was a million miles away. It was replaying that text. Feeling awful. It was a lie. I knew it. I knew it in my bones. In the part of me that had known my mother for 27 years. It was an excuse. But why? Why would she do this? Why would she skip the most important day of my life? I said, I do. And I kissed my new husband, but a cold, terrible feeling had settled in my heart. This wasn't over. This was just the beginning. And I had no idea how right I was. The reception was a blur. Everyone said it was beautiful. The food, the music, the flowers. They all said it was perfect. But I felt like I was moving underwater. I smiled for photos, my cheeks aching from the effort. I danced with my new husband, Mark, but my feet felt like lead. He held me close and whispered, "What's wrong, honey? You look a million miles away." I couldn't hide it from him. I pulled out my phone and showed him the text from my mom. I watched his face. First he looked confused. Then his eyes hardened. "Feeling awful," he said, his voice low. "Sarah, she's done some selfish things in the past, but this is something else." He was right. My mom. She wasn't like other moms. She had a way of making everything about her. I remembered all the time she'd suddenly gotten a migraine right before a parent-teacher meeting, or when she twisted her ankle, the day I moved into my first apartment and needed help. She always had a reason. But I always made excuses for her. She's just sensitive, I'd tell myself. She's had a hard life. But as I stood there in my wedding dress, surrounded by people who loved us, the excuses sounded hollow. Even my best friend Lisa came over, her eyes full of worry. "She really didn't come," she whispered. I just shook my head. Tried. I really tried to be present. I danced with my dad and he held me extra tight. "She'll regret this one day, sweetheart," he said. "Don't you let it spoil this moment." I nodded, but I knew my dad. He was just as hurt as I was. He had loved her once too. He knew how she could build you up just to let you down. I looked around the room at Mark's parents, who were laughing and hugging everyone. They had been so welcoming to me. Why couldn't my own mother be happy for me? What had I done that was so wrong? We spent the rest of the night smiling. But every time I laughed, it felt a little bit fake. Every time someone congratulated me, I had to fight the urge to burst into tears. It was like there was this giant, gaping hole in the middle of the room that only I could see. The empty chair. Felt like it was screaming at me. Mark kept squeezing my hand, trying to pull me back into the moment. But I was stuck. I was stuck on that one single question: why? Why today? Of all the days to be selfish, why this one? Later that night, in the big fancy hotel room, the party was finally over. My beautiful dress was puddled on the floor. Mark was in the shower. And I just sat on the edge of the bed, the silence so loud it was deafening. And then the tears came. Not the pretty, happy tears from the movies. These were the ugly, gut-wrenching sobs that come from a place deep inside. I cried for the little girl in me who had always just wanted her mom's approval. I cried for the woman in the wedding dress who didn't get to have her mom help her get ready. Mark came out of the bathroom and just wrapped me in a towel, holding me while I shook. "I just don't understand," I sobbed into his chest. How could she do this to me?" He stroked my hair. "Because it was never about you, Sarah," he said quietly. "It was always about her. You know that." But hearing it out loud didn't make it hurt any less. Just made it feel more real. Felt so angry. I was angry at her for being so selfish, and I was angry at myself for still caring so much. I pulled away, my mind made up. I'm calling her, I said, grabbing my phone. Sarah, no, Mark said, trying to take it. Don't. It's your wedding night. Please just let it be. We'll deal with it tomorrow. But I couldn't. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe. I needed to hear her voice. I needed her to give me a reason that made sense. I hit the call button. Rang once. My heart was pounding. 3 times. And then, voicemail. Hi, you've reached Linda. Leave a message. Her voice was so cheerful. Made me feel sick. She was screening my calls. On my wedding night. The anger boiled over. She's ignoring me, I said, throwing the phone on the bed. She sends one text, ruins my wedding, and now she's ignoring me. Mark sighed. What did you expect, honey? For her to pick up and say she's sorry? I didn't know what I expected. I just felt this burning need for an answer. Was she really sick? Was she in the hospital? Or was she just sitting at home watching TV like it was any other Saturday? I tried to tell myself to let it go, to focus on my new husband, to go on our honeymoon and be happy. But it was like an itch I couldn't scratch. It was an open loop. A story without an ending. Why would she do it? Did she not like Mark? No, she always said she thought he was wonderful. Was she mad at me? I'd gone over our last conversation. We'd talked about the flowers. It seemed fine. This came from nowhere. It was a mystery and it was eating me alive. I picked up the phone one last time. I sent a text. Mom, I'm married. I'm really hurt. I don't understand. Please just tell me what's going on. Are you okay? I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering. I watched the delivered receipt. Nothing. Then, after a full minute, the 3 little dots appeared. She's typing. My heart jumped into my throat. She was awake. She was there. The dots danced for what felt like an hour, then they stopped. A new message popped up. But it wasn't words. It wasn't an apology. It was a picture. Picture of her. She was on a beach, holding a drink with a little umbrella in it. I stared at the phone. It didn't make sense. Mark leaned over my shoulder. A beach, he said, his voice flat. She's on a beach. I zoomed in. My hand was shaking. There she was. Sunglasses on, smiling at the camera, holding a bright pink drink with a little umbrella. She wasn't sick in bed. She wasn't in the hospital. She was on vacation. My whole body went cold. She's on vacation, I whispered. It felt like the air had been punched out of the room. She didn't just skip my wedding. She chose a beach over it. Who took the picture? Mark asked. That question hit me like a stone. She wasn't alone. She was with someone. Someone who was more important than me. More important than seeing her only daughter get married. I felt sick, but this time it was real. This wasn't just her being selfish. This was a message. It was cruel. She was telling me, clear as day, that I didn't matter. I threw the phone onto the hotel bed. I'm done, I said, my voice trembling. I'm blocking her. I'm done. But even as I said it, a small, stupid part of me knew it wasn't true. You can't just be done with your own mother, can you? We left for our honeymoon in Italy the next day. It was supposed to be the most romantic 2 weeks of our lives. Rome, Venice, Florence. Places I had only dreamed of seeing. But that picture, it followed me. It was like a ghost sitting next to me at every romantic dinner. Mark tried so hard. He held my hand, he told me jokes, he tried to make me forget. But how do you forget that? How do you forget your own mother chose a cheap beach trip over the most important day of your life? I felt like such a fool. Every time I saw a mother and daughter laughing in a cafe, my stomach would twist. I didn't block her. I couldn't. What if there was a real emergency? What if this was all a huge, crazy misunderstanding? Even though I knew deep down it wasn't. But the why was eating me alive. Why do this? And why send the picture? Was she trying to hurt me? Had to be that. She wanted me to know she wasn't sick. She wanted me to know she had chosen something else. But why? We hadn't fought. We were fine, or so I thought. This level of anger. Where did it come from? It was a puzzle, and none of the pieces fit. I tried to act normal. I really did. We took pictures, smiling in front of old buildings, eating ice cream. I sent a few to my dad, who sent back happy messages, telling me how much he loved me. Then, I did something I promised myself I wouldn't. I sent one to my mom. It was a picture of me and Mark on a beautiful bridge in Venice. I just wrote, "Hi. We're in Venice." I don't know why I did it. I guess I wanted to see what she would say. I wanted an apology. I wanted an explanation. I just wanted something. Waited. Hours went by. Then my phone buzzed. Reply. My heart jumped into my throat. The word Rick just echoed in my head. Who was he? What did he say to her? How could she be so dumb? I'm a nurse. I'm a smart person. But I'm not rich. Mark isn't rich. We work hard. We budget. We saved for 2 years for our wedding. The idea of that much money. It was like a mountain. And she just expected me to move it for her. I know you got wedding money, she'd said. That part hit me the hardest. She was already spending it in her head. She saw our new life as her personal bank account. Mom, I said, and my voice sounded strange, like it was coming from far away. What do you mean, pay it? The man at the bank. He told me the number. That's not wedding money. That's buy a whole new house money. We don't have that. I heard her take a shaky breath. But you can get it, she insisted, her voice getting stronger, more demanding. You're a nurse. Mark has that good job in computers. You can go to the bank. You can take out your own loan. A loan to save your mother's life. Loan. She wanted me to go into crippling debt, the same debt she was in, to save her from a mess she made. So let me get this straight, I said, and my voice was getting colder. You skip my wedding, you lie about being sick, you go on vacation with some man. A man who then steals all your money. And now I'm supposed to go into debt to fix it? Is that what you're asking? I could feel the anger, hot and sharp, rising in my chest. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a pattern. Her whole life was one big selfish mess. You don't understand, she wailed. He was so nice, he said. He said he was an investor. He said he could double my money. He just needed a little help to start. He was going to pay it all back before the first payment was even due. It was a sure thing. My jaw dropped. An investor. Mom! He scammed you, I said, rubbing my forehead. That's a scam. A man you just met. You gave him. You took a loan out. For a scam. He was very convincing, she yelled, like that made it okay. And you're not listening to me. I don't have time for this. The auction is next week. I need you to go to the bank tomorrow. I heard a key in the lock. The front door opened. Mark was home. He walked in, smiling, holding a bag of groceries. Hey hon, his smile vanished the second he saw my face. I was pale, my hand was shaking, and I was gripping the phone like it was a weapon. He dropped the bag on the counter. Sarah, what's wrong? Who is that? He mouthed, his eyes wide with worry. I couldn't even speak. I just looked at him, my eyes screaming. It's her. He knew exactly who her was. Mark! My mom yelled through the phone. She must have heard his voice. Mark, is that you? Oh, thank goodness. Please talk to your wife. She's being so cold. I just couldn't. I pressed the speakerphone button and set the phone on the kitchen counter. Mark and I just stared at it like it was a bomb. Mom, I said, my voice flat. You're on speaker. Mark can hear you. Good, she said, her voice a weird mix of crying and anger. Mark, you're a good man. You'll understand. I made a mistake. A little mistake. Mark's face was unreadable. A little mistake, Linda, he said, his voice dangerously calm. The bank called Sarah. They said you're losing the house. That doesn't sound little. It was little, she insisted. But he took it all. And now Sarah is saying she won't help me. Her own mother. I told her she owes me. I raised her. I paid for her college. I sacrificed everything for that girl. This is what family is for. You're supposed to help family. I saw Mark's knuckles turn white. But before he could speak, I did. That one phrase. That one lie she had told 1,000 times. You paid for my college. I said, my voice so quiet the room went still. You paid for my college, Mom? Yes, she screamed. Every penny. That's funny, I said, the coldness in my chest spreading. Because I seem to remember Dad giving you the check for my tuition. And I remember you buying a brand new red convertible that same week. And I remember Dad having to drain his savings account to pay for my school so I wouldn't get kicked out. You remember that, Mom? The line went completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. I had done it. I had finally said the one thing we were never ever supposed to talk about. I had called out her biggest lie. Mark just stared at me. He had never heard this story. My mom. She was breathing. I could hear her just breathing. No crying, no yelling. Just the sound of air moving. And then a different voice. A voice I had never heard before. Cold, hard, and full of hate. You ungrateful little brat, she whispered. After all I've done. You're going to regret this. And she hung up. The phone was still on the counter. The line was dead. The silence in the room was so loud, it was almost screaming. Mark just stared at the phone, then at me. His face was pale. The college money, he said, his voice quiet. The convertible. Sarah. Is that true? I just nodded. I couldn't even look at him. I felt so much shame, like it was my secret. He gave her the check, I whispered. And she cashed it. She told me she'd put it in a special account. 2 days later, that red car was in the driveway. I was 20 years old. I had to sit in my dad's living room while he cried, trying to figure out how to pay for my classes. My God, Mark breathed. He walked over and finally put his arms around me. I was shaking. I hadn't realized I was shaking. Why didn't you ever tell me that? He asked. Because it was humiliating, I whispered into his chest. Because she's my mom. And part of me just, I don't know. I guess I hoped she'd just be better one day. We stood there for a long time. The groceries Mark had bought were still sitting on the counter, forgotten. The house was quiet. But my brain was loud. Her voice, that cold, hateful voice. You ungrateful little brat. You're going to regret this. That's what she said. The words kept playing over and over in my head. What did that even mean? Was she going to hurt herself? Was she going to, I don't know, tell more lies? What else could she possibly do to me? She's going to be homeless, Mark, I said, pulling away. My nurse brain was clicking on. Where would she go? What would she eat? She had no skills. She hadn't worked a real job in 20 years. She's not going to be homeless, Sarah, Mark said, his voice firm. He took my hands. Look at me. He's not. She is a master at getting people to save her. She will call her sister. She will call. I don't know. She will find another Rick. He was right. I knew he was right. She always landed on her feet, usually by stepping on someone else. But still, the thought of my own mother sleeping in a car. It made me feel sick. We are not paying her mortgage, Mark said, his voice leaving no room for argument. We are not taking out a loan. We are not giving her our wedding money. This is a black hole, Sarah. And if you jump in to save her, she will just pull you down with her. We are building a life. Her life. You can't let her burn it down just because she set her own house on fire. He nodded. He was right. I knew he was right. But my heart felt like it was being ripped in two. The daughter part of me was screaming, help her. The wife part of me was screaming, protect your new family. I felt like a terrible person. No matter what I did, I was going to be a terrible person to someone. So what do we do? I whispered. We do nothing. We do nothing, he said. This is not your fault. This is not your problem to fix. This is hers. She is a grown woman. Just as he said that, my phone buzzed on the counter. It wasn't a call. It was a text. Very, very long text. From Mom. My stomach dropped to the floor. Don't, Mark said. Don't read it. It's just going to be more poison. But I had to know. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. Mark stood right next to me, reading over my shoulder. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't her crying for help. It was pure anger. I see now, it started. I finally see who you are. You think you're so much better than me, don't you? With your new, perfect husband and your new, perfect life. You never looked back, did you? You just left me all alone. You just forgot about me. You didn't even need me at that wedding. I saw the way you looked at Mark's mother. You want her to be your mom now. I was just an ugly old chair you had to find a place for. My hand flew to my mouth. I had never ever said that. I had never thought that. I begged her to be a part of the wedding planning. Mark's arm tightened around me. Keep reading, he said, his voice grim. I scrolled down. The text went on. I was a fool to think you ever loved me. You're just like your father. Cold. Selfish. You only care about money. You were probably happy I wasn't there. You were probably embarrassed by me. This was insane. This was a different person. Where was this all coming from? This wasn't just about money. This was about the wedding. The empty chair. She wanted to skip it. And then the last part of the text. The part that made all the blood drain from my body. Rick was right. He told me this would happen. He's the only one who ever saw the truth. He said, the second she gets that ring on her finger, she's going to forget all about you. Her new, rich family won't have time for you. He told me you'd turn your back on me. He warned me. I just stared at the words. That's why we went to the beach, the text ended. We went to celebrate our new family, since you made it so clear you didn't want me in yours. You didn't leave me. I left you. And you're going to regret this. I dropped the phone. Mark picked it up. He read the last part over and over. Oh my God, he whispered. This is sicker than I thought. This Rick guy. He didn't just scam her. He poisoned her. He was feeding her lies about us. He was turning her against you for months. He isolated her. That was the plan. He made her choose the beach trip. It wasn't just a vacation. It was a test I had failed without even knowing I was taking it. She didn't skip my wedding for Rick. She skipped it because of Rick. And in her mind, I had just proved him right. I just stood there in my kitchen. The groceries Mark brought home were still on the counter, forgotten. My whole body felt empty. It wasn't just anger anymore. It was a strange, cold sadness. It was grief. The mother I knew, the one I kept making excuses for. She wasn't just selfish or confused. It was gone. She had been stolen by a con man. But even worse, she had let him. She had chosen to believe a stranger's poison over her own daughter. He poisoned her, I whispered. Mark nodded, his face like stone. He found her weak spot, Mark said, her fear of being alone. And he used it to light a fire. That last text. It changed everything. Before I was a hurt daughter. I was a confused bride. I was worried. Now, I just felt cold. The fog of guilt I had been walking around in, the part of me that was still terrified of her being homeless, it just evaporated. She wasn't just a victim. She was a partner in it. She helped Rick hurt me. She used that beach trip, that picture, as a weapon. She wanted me to know I had been replaced. The sadness was still there, but something new was growing next to it. Something hard and clear. So what does this mean? Asked Mark. My voice sounded different, even to me. The house. The auction. It's still next week. She's She's still going to lose it. Mark looked at me, his eyes searching mine. What does it mean to you, Sarah? He asked. She just told you in writing that she chose a liar over you. She skipped our wedding to hurt you. And the only reason she's calling now is because the liar is gone and the money is gone. He was right. She wasn't calling to say, I'm sorry. She was calling to say, my first plan failed, so now you have to fix it. We stood in silence for maybe 10 minutes. Felt like 10 hours. I was just breathing, in and out, trying to let the truth settle in my bones. I left you. That's what she said. And then, right on cue, the phone on the counter started to buzz again. It wasn't a text this time. It was a call. My whole body tensed up. I looked at Mark. He didn't tell me what to do. He didn't reach for the phone. He just watched me. This was my choice. He was letting me make it. I took a deep breath. I walked over to the counter and I picked up the phone. I hit the green button. I put it on speaker again. Mom, I said. My voice was pure ice. Sarah. Oh, thank God. Did you get my text? I was upset. I didn't mean it. Please, honey, you have to help me. I'm begging you. I'm on my knees. Please, are you going to the bank tomorrow? Are you going to help me or not? The fake crying was back. Panic. But I could hear the anger underneath it. I could hear the demand. I looked at Mark. He gave me a tiny, tiny nod. Just one. It was all I needed. No, I said. The word was so small but it felt huge. Felt heavy. It filled the whole room. What? She whispered. She wasn't crying anymore. What did you just say? I said. No, I repeated, and this time my voice was stronger. I will not be paying your mortgage, Mom. I will not be taking out a loan. I will not be giving you our wedding money. I will not be fixing this. The silence on the other end was terrifying. It was worse than the crying. It was worse than the yelling. It was the sound of a bomb that had just been lit. I could hear her breathing. Quick, shallow breath. No, she said, her voice a deadly whisper. You're saying no. To your own mother. I'm saying no to the person who lied to me, I said, my voice steady. The person who chose a con man over me. The person who skipped my wedding just to hurt me. And the person who only called me when she needed money. I'm saying no. You think you know everything, she suddenly screamed. The whisper was gone, and a new, terrible, ugly rage was there. You don't know anything. You have no idea. You ruined everything. What did I ruin, Mom? I asked, genuinely confused now. What are you talking about? You're the one who got scammed. You're the one who's losing the house. Because of you, she shrieked. It's all because of you. Do you even know why I was so mad about this wedding? Do you even know why Rick was right? I was speechless. What does my wedding have to do with the loan? Because, she screamed, and I could hear her pacing like a trapped animal. Because I told him. My daughter is getting married. It's so expensive. I have to buy a mother of the bride dress, I have to host parties. But I don't have any money. I'll look pathetic. And Rick said, don't worry, Linda. Can help you. We can make so much money you won't even need her or her new family. He was getting me that money. So I wouldn't have to be embarrassed at your stupid fancy wedding. My knees buckled. Mark had to grab my arm to hold me up. I couldn't breathe. It wasn't just a scam. It wasn't just a vacation. It wasn't just jealousy. She took the loan. She met Rick. Because she was ashamed to be poor at my wedding. She took out a loan against her entire house. To get money. For a dress. And when Rick's plan to double the money failed, he convinced her it was all my fault. My no wasn't just a no to the money. It was a no to her whole twisted, terrible world. And now she had nothing left to lose. My head just spun. A dress, I whispered, and I'm not even sure if I said it out loud. You're telling me you lost your house. For a dress? That's what it all came down to. All the pain, the lies, the empty chair at my wedding. It was all because she didn't want to feel embarrassed. It was all just about her, just like it had always been. The man Rick, he didn't start this fire. He just saw where it was already burning and poured gasoline on it. I must have said it out loud because her voice on the phone changed. "You don't get it," she said. "You just don't get it. You said. No." That one word, my no. It had finally hit her. It was like I had flipped a switch. The fake panicky crying was gone. The weird whispery threats were gone. Now something new started. It was a sound I had never heard from her before. It was a wail. It was a deep, ugly, howling sound like an animal in pain. But it wasn't pain. It was rage. "You said a no to me," she screamed into the phone, her voice cracking. "After everything I've done for you. After I gave you my life. You ungrateful, horrible, selfish child." The words just hit me one after another like slaps. "I am your mother. I raised you, fed you, I gave you everything. And you stand there in your new perfect house with your new perfect husband, and you're going to let me die on the street." Mark couldn't stay quiet anymore. He grabbed the phone from the counter. "Linda, that is enough," he yelled. I had never heard him yell before. His voice was like thunder. "You are not going to talk to her like that. This is not her fault. This is your fault. You lied. You stole. And you got scammed. This is your mess." Having him defend me. It made me feel both strong and weak at the same time. But it was the worst thing he could have done. "You," she shrieked. The sound was so loud I flinched. "This is you. He warned me about you. Rick said this would happen. He said you were jealous of me. He said you wanted to get me out of the way so you could have Sarah all to yourself. You probably paid Rick to leave. You set me up." My jaw dropped. Mark just stared at the phone, his face a mask of pure shock. This was beyond a breakdown. This was a whole new, terrifying level of crazy. She was building a whole different story in her head, where we were the bad guys. "Linda, you are sick," Mark said, his voice flat and cold. "You need help. But we are not going to be your punching bag. And we are not going to be your bank. Oh, you think you're so smart," she spat. The tears were completely gone now. Her voice was pure poison. "You think you can just hang up on me and this is all over? You think I'm just going to crawl away and die? You have no idea what you've just done. You just started a war." I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. "What does that mean, Mom?" I said, taking the phone back from Mark. "What war?" "Oh, you'll see," she whispered. "You think I'm the only person in this family. You think your dad is going to be proud of you. You think your Aunt Mary, your Uncle David. You think they're just going to sit back and watch you let your own mother become homeless. I'm going to call every single one of them. I'm going to tell them everything." "What are you going to tell them, Mom?" I asked, and my voice was so tired. "Are you going to tell them about Rick? About the loan? About the beach? About the dress? Or are you just going to tell them the part that makes us look bad?" "I'm going to tell them the truth," she screamed. "That my rich, snobby, ungrateful daughter has everything in the world, and she wouldn't even give me a single penny to save my life. I'm going to tell them how you mocked me. I'm going to tell them how your husband yelled at me. They're going to know exactly who you are, Sarah. They're all going to hate you." I looked at Mark. He looked at me. This was it. This was the moment. The before and after. She was threatening to burn down my whole world, to turn my entire family against me, just because I wouldn't let her burn down my house. All the love I had for her, all the excuses I had ever made. They just died. Right there in that kitchen. They turned to ash. Felt empty. "Go ahead, Mom," I said, and my voice was calm. It was the calmest I had felt all day. "Call them. Tell them whatever you need to tell them. Tell them your truth. But the answer is still no. It will always be no. And before she could scream, before she could threaten, before she could cry another fake, angry tear, I pressed the red button. I ended the call. The silence in the kitchen was total. Mark and I just stood there. The bomb had gone off. And now, we were just waiting for the fallout to land. Hung up the phone. The silence in the kitchen was heavy. It wasn't a peaceful silence. It was the silence of the air right before a giant thunderstorm, when the sky turns dark green and you know something terrible is about to break. Mark let out a long breath. "Well," he said, his voice just a whisper. She's really going to do it." I just nodded. Felt numb. I kept my phone in my hand, staring at the black screen. It felt like I was holding a bomb that was counting down. I just didn't know when it would go off. Took less than 5 minutes. That's all. 5 minutes. My phone didn't ring. It vibrated so hard on the kitchen counter it sounded like an angry bee. It was a text message. Not from Mom. It was from my Aunt Mary. My mom's older sister. Aunt Mary was dramatic. She always had been. My heart hammered in my chest. Mark just said, "Who is it?" I didn't answer. I just read the text. It was long. A whole screen full of tiny angry words. "I cannot believe you," it started. "No, hi Sarah." Just pure anger. "Your mother is on the phone with me, crying so hard she can't breathe. She is going to be homeless. And you with your fancy new life won't even help her. You're going to let her sleep in her car. What kind of monster did you become? Your grandfather would be so ashamed of you." My hands were shaking. She told them. She actually did it. She told them her version. The Sarah is rich and cruel version. Mark was reading over my shoulder. "Delete it," he said, his voice hard. "Just delete it." But before I could, another one came in. "Izzy." This one was from my cousin Tom. "Hey Sarah. Heard about your mom. That's really cold. Just cold. Isn't busy." It was like a dam had broken. My phone just kept going off. Aunt Mary, Uncle David, my other cousin Beth. They were all texting me. They were all calling me a monster. But here's the question that kept spinning in my head. Why did they all believe her, just like that? Why did not one of them, not one, call me first and just ask, "Sarah, what's going on?" I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. I wanted to scream. "They hate me," I whispered. "Mark, they all hate me." She did it. She made them all hate me. "They don't hate you," Mark said, his voice angry. "They don't even know you. They just heard her story. They're not even thinking." But that almost made it feel worse. These people, they had been at my birthday parties. They came to my wedding. They smiled at me and gave me gifts. And in 5 minutes, they were all willing to believe I was an evil monster. It was so easy for them. "I have to text them back," I said, my fingers flying. "I have to tell them the truth. About Rick. About the loan. About the beach." I started typing a long message to Aunt Mary. "Aunt Mary, you don't understand, she was scammed by a man." Mark put his hand on my phone. "Sarah, stop," he said gently. "Do you really think they will believe you? Right now. You'll just look like you're making excuses. You'll just look guilty. That's what your mom wants. She wants to pull you into the mud with her." He was right. I knew he was right. Arguing with them would just be more drama. It wouldn't help. I put the phone down face first on the counter. So I just let them. I just let them all think I'm this horrible person. "For now," he said. We just have to be us. Just us." Felt so alone. Like we were on a tiny little island and the whole world was just water pulling us down. And then the phone buzzed again. But this time, it wasn't a text. It was a call. I looked at the screen. My heart didn't just sink. It broke. It wasn't an aunt. It wasn't a cousin. It was Dad. Oh God. Not him. Please, not him. My dad. He's my rock. He's the one who knows her. He's the one who paid for my college twice. He's the one who knows what she's like. He would understand, right? He had to. He wouldn't believe her lies. Not him. Mark, I whispered, my voice shaking. It's Dad. Mark's face went pale. Okay, he said. Okay, answer it. He knows her. He'll be on your side. He has to be. I took a deep, shaky breath. I hit the green button. Dad, said my voice so small. Sarah. His voice was, I couldn't read it. It was just tired. So tired. Your mother called me. I know, Dad, I know, I said, the words spilling out. She's lying. She's telling everyone I'm horrible. She lost the house because of a man, Dad. Con man named Rick. Sarah. He cut me off. Sarah. I know, honey. Hey. I know all about Rick. I know about the loan. I know about the beach. I let out a breath of relief. Oh, thank God, Dad. So you get it. You know I can't dash. She called me, he said again, his voice sounding hollow. She's at my house, Sarah. I couldn't process that. What do you mean she's at your house? In your living room. She showed up at my door an hour ago, he said, and he sounded 1,000 years old. With 2 suitcases. Crying. She told me everything. Sarah. She's not just losing the house. It's worse than that. The bank was just the beginning. She's in real trouble. The police are looking for her, Sarah. This Rick guy. He didn't just take her money. He involved her. The police. I whispered. The word felt wrong in my mouth. It didn't fit with Mom. Police like what, Dad? A wellness check. Did she say something? I was thinking she had threatened to hurt herself. That's what she would usually do to get what she wanted. But my dad's voice was low and serious. No, Sarah, he said. Not a wellness check. They're investigating him. This Rick guy. He wasn't just a scammer, honey, Dad continued. He sounded so tired. He's a criminal. Real one. He was using your mother. He was having her sign papers, open bank accounts in her name. He was moving stolen money, Sarah. And your mom's name is. It's on everything. He didn't just take her money. He used her. To steal from other people. My head was spinning. This wasn't about a dress. This wasn't about a loan. This was dark. This was scary. So when the bank started the foreclosure, my dad said, it set off alarms. The police. They went to her house this morning. Not to arrest her. But to talk to her. They think she's part of it. This whole criminal thing. My mind flashed to my mom in her nice house, opening the door to real policemen. So she ran, I whispered. She saw the police and she ran. To you. Yes, my dad said. She showed up here. Scared to death. Crying. She's not just losing her house, Sarah. She could go to jail. Well, the word hit me like a punch. My mother. In a jumpsuit. Behind bars. All the anger from Aunt Mary, all the mean texts. They felt so stupid now. This was real. This was a life and death kind of problem. Dad, I said, and my throat was so dry. What does she want? Already knew. The question felt dumb as soon as I said it. She needs a lawyer, honey, he said, and his voice cracked. A really, really good one. An expensive one. She asked me to ask you. I looked over at Mark. He was just watching me. His face wasn't angry. It was just sad. He knew this was the final test. My mom. She was there. In my dad's house. Watching him make this call. using my kind, tired father as a weapon. All the noise, all the screaming, all the family blowing up my phone. It all came down to this one quiet moment. This one last question. Will you save me? I took a deep breath. And I thought about the empty chair. I thought about the beach picture. I thought about the lies. I thought about the college money and the red car. I thought about the dress. Then, I thought about Mark. I thought about our quiet apartment. I thought about the new, safe life we were trying to build. The life my mother had tried to burn down. Just because she was cold. Dad, I said, and my voice was shaking. But it was clear. Dad. I can't. He said it. I love you. Can't. I won't. This is her mess. She has to clean it up. I can't. Heard it. In the background. Scream. A real scream. Not a fake crying for money scream. A scream of pure animal rage. No. I heard her shriek. You did this to me. I heard my dad say, Linda, that's enough. Stop. I heard the phone clatter like he had dropped it. Then he picked it up again. Sarah, he whispered, and he was out of breath. I have to go. This is bad. I understand, honey. I really do. I love you. I love you too, Dad, I whispered back. Be safe. And he hung up. The line went dead. And that was it. The phone was quiet. Mark he walked over and he put his arms around me. I didn't cry. I was just empty. Felt hollow. The war was over. And it felt like everyone had lost. That was 6 months ago. We found out. My mom didn't go to jail. She had to make a deal. She told the police everything about Rick to save herself. She lost the house. Everything. She lives with Aunt Mary now. In my cousin's old bedroom. My aunts, my uncles. They all went quiet. I guess my dad. Or maybe even my mom. Finally told them the real story. The police story. The not about Sarah story. We don't talk. I sent her a card for her birthday. I don't know if she opened it. Mark and we're okay. We're more than okay. We're healing. We took the money we didn't give her. And we put a down payment on a tiny little house. House with a small yard. It's quiet. Safe. It's ours. Sometimes I think about that one little word. It was the hardest thing I have ever done. It felt like I was ripping my own heart out. But it was the right thing. It was the no that let me finally say yes. To me. To my husband. To my own peaceful life. My story is a lot, I know. It's heavy. And it's not a story with a perfect, happy ending where everyone hugs. But it's real. And I'm sharing it. Because I know I'm not the only one. I know there are so many of you out there who are the good ones. The ones who are always expected to fix everything, to be the peacemakers, to carry the weight. If this story, if any part of it, felt like your story, I just want you to know that you are not alone. It is okay to protect your own peace. It is okay to build a safe house for your own heart, even if that means you have to lock a door. If our stories here mean something to you, if they make you feel a little less alone in the world, please click that like button. It's like sending a little signal to all of us that we're in this together. And if you know someone who is carrying a heavy weight, please share this story. Maybe it's the one thing they need to hear today. We are building a real family here, one story at a time. A family that listens. A family that understands. If you want to be a part of that, please click that subscribe button. We would be so happy to have you.